We're entering one of my favorite months of the year. I might be a little biased because my birthday is also in October, but I just think October is the perfect month to embrace fall, to grab some cozy or spooky reads, and really enjoy the changing of the season. So if you're also in the fall mood, I'd like to share some of the books that I've been reading recently and some of the books that are next up on my list for reading in October. A book that I just finished is The Book That Wouldn't Burn by Mark Lawrence. This story is so labyrinthian. It's so maze-like in both the plotting, the environment, the character development, the second guessing and the turns that you take as a reader while you're experiencing this story. And it's one of the rare books that immediately after I finished it, everything had been thrown into a new light and it made me want to reread the story immediately. So I think that's very impressive. If you enjoy fantasy that has a little bit more of a higher message to it, this book just has a lot to say. It has a lot to say about prejudice and privilege. The library itself is imprisoning the society with outside it into ignorance. We're following one person who is trapped within the library, and then we're following another character who has been invited into the library through years of rigorous training and exploration. It also has some really tight references to books and literature in general. I particularly loved that the author made several references to The Magician's Nephew by C.S. Lewis, which is personally my favorite of the Chronicles of Narnia. Scattered throughout the book, at the head of each chapter, we have a quote from another book. Some of those books I think are real, others have weird author names. They're celebrities, they're public figures, but they clearly have not written the content that is in that quote. And then some are actually from some of Mark Lawrence's own books. I didn't go to the lengths of researching every single quote, but I do still wonder if there's some sort of code in those that I just somehow missed. Mark, if you're watching this video, let me know. Is there a code? Is there a puzzle within those chapter headings? Because I'm dying to know. But maybe I'm just looking for something where there isn't something there. It's 5 stars, definitely a contender for favorite fantasy of this year, and I look forward to reading book 2 in the spring of next year. This next book is a contender for my biggest disappointment of the fall, and that is unfortunately Uprooted by Naomi Novik. The cover design was done by David G. Stevenson. The illustration is done by Scott McCowan. 5 stars for this cover design. Actual story, 1 star. There's an awful lot of content in this one that I would say is subjectively good or bad, but then there's some things that are just objectively not great, like repetition in the plotting, really awkward phrasing in the writing style where I would have to trace my steps back and reread sentences, and there's just really little to no time that was spent to develop the main character romance. Yet we spent so much time observing tertiary character deaths and the big bad that just repeatedly would not die. Overall, I was just so utterly disappointed in this one, and the most positive thing that I could say is that idea of the plot is good. I would love to see the author team up with another author or just have like a little bit more of a critical editor and revise and update this book because I think it could be so much better. But at the same time, I know that there are thousands of readers who love this one. They like it more than Spinning Silver. I thought that this was going to be better than Spinning Silver, to be honest, because I didn't love Spinning Silver, but it's not. Spinning Silver is actually better. That was my disappointment for this month. You're gonna want to settle in for this next one because I'm about to talk about Ship of Magic by Robin Hobb, and it's a chunky boy. This cover illustration, by the way, was done by Jackie Morris. She does the artwork that you see on many of these UK Harper Voyager editions of Robin Hobb's books, and the calligraphy was done by Stephen Raw. So this is the pirate book that I waited so long to read that it wasn't even summer anymore when I read it. It lived up to the hype. I gave it 4 stars. In case you're not familiar, this is the first book in the Live Ship Traders trilogy, which is the second series of books within the giant series the realm of the elderlings. One of the first things that I noticed when I picked up this book was the acknowledgement at the front is for the IT people that helped rescue Robin Hobb's manuscript when her computer was getting overrun by viruses. I really appreciated that, and I let my husband know about that because he also works in IT. So in this story, the characters that we spend the most time with are the Uprooted family. They're a distinguished family of sea traders who, like many other families, have made a deal with the people of Rainwilds in order to have a live ship made of wizard wood. What makes live ships so special, you might ask? Well, over the years, it absorbs the memories and experiences, the emotions of the family that lives and works on the ship, and after 3 generations of that family have lived and died on the ship actually becomes sentient. It awakens, can think for itself, it recalls all of those memories and emotions, and the figurehead on the front of the ship comes alive and it can speak. Because they're so special, live ships are also very costly. They allow sea traders to access passages that other ships cannot traverse. And for most of the live ship traders, they've decided to trade exclusively with the Rainwild people. And so they have access to these magical items that fetch quite a fair price in the markets of Bingtown and beyond. However, the head of the Uprooted family, Ephron, decided some time ago that trading with the Rainwilds people was too risky beyond getting their live ship. So for them, repaying the debt of their live ship has taken much longer. For decades, Ephron has been at sea. His wife, Veronica, has been managing their lands, their business decisions, and their family life at home. At the beginning of this story, we see that the 3rd generation is coming to a close and Captain Ephron is dying. And this sad event is also when the live ship is going to be awakened for the first time, and the rights of the ship are going to go to the next person in the Uprooted family that Captain Ephron chooses. So one of the things that I knew going into this story is that the person who we as the reader know deserves the ship, really wants that responsibility to care and look after the ship as it continues to be sentient, it learns about the world around them, absorbs those emotions. We know that that person is not going to get it. It's going to go to someone else, and this is going to be one of the main points of conflict in the story. There's connivery, there's sexism, there's a whole lot of pride. The way that it all unfolded did still manage to surprise me. If I gave you a list of just the character names or even just a number, I don't think you would believe how many different threads of story that Robin manages to keep hold of in this one. But believe me when I say it works. Here's why I think it does. It's written in 3rd person, so you're never jumping in and out of people's perspectives to the point where you don't know who you're with in a scene. It's very clear what the transitions are, and you're following them from a little bit more of a wide angle. The character names are also very distinctive. You don't have character names that sound similar or start with the same letter, even if they have complete opposite personalities. But at the same time, you start to see these characters on a collision course with each other, and you know that they're going to have to fix some problems and negotiate some alliances in order to get by. Why did I only give this 4 stars instead of 5 stars? Well, just like our own world but with magic, you can expect some pretty morally gritty social and ethical dilemmas. He's a pirate. Presented just as in times of piracy in our own history, and that can be challenging to read at times. I didn't want to linger on those scenes by any means. You'll very easily have characters that you care about and others that you would frankly rather see walk the plank. Unless I'm totally distracted by my spooky reads, I'm probably going to be picking up book 2 this month. Now onto the book that I'm currently reading. It is The Last Devil to Die by Richard Osman, our most recent installment of the Thursday Murder Club. So first I wanted to spend a moment to take a look and appreciate this cover design. This is the Waterstones edition. It has this lovely like kind of fuchsia purple foil, and then the edges also have little foxes on them. This is going to be the last Thursday Murder Club book that we get for a while because Richard Osman has announced plans to write other books, but I don't want to dwell on that. It makes me sad. So far, this one has kicked off fun and fast. It revolves around the murder of an antique dealer And again, we are of course following Elizabeth, Joyce, Ibrahim, Ron, Chris, and Donna as they investigate together. I'm only on chapter 20, which is page 111 at this point, and I've already giggled over one of Joyce's diary entries. I've had my suspicions raised about the potential suspects, and I've literally cried at a scene between Elizabeth and Stephen. So yeah, this is really good. And some of my anticipated fall reads are starting to come in at the library, and so they are kind of moving up my TBR a little bit, and I wanted to let you know the books that I'm planning to read next. First off, I have Other Birds by Sarah Addison Allen. This was a former Book of the Month pick. Here's what the synopsis of this one says. Down a narrow alley in the small coastal town of Mallow Island, South Carolina, lies a stunning cobblestone building comprised of 5 apartments. It's called the Delowisp, and it's named after the tiny turquoise birds who, alongside the human tenants, inhabit the air of magical secrecy. When Zoe Hennessy comes to claim her deceased mother's apartment at the Delowisp, she meets her quirky, enigmatic neighbors, including a girl on the run, a grieving chef whose comfort food does not comfort him, 2 estranged middle-aged sisters, and 3 ghosts, each with their own story, each with their own longings, each whose ending isn't yet written. When one of her new neighbors dies under odd circumstances the night Zoe arrives, she's thrust into the mystery of the Delowisp, which involves missing pages from a legendary writer whose work might be hidden there. She soon discovers that many unfinished stories permeate the place, and the people around her are in as much need of healing from wrongs of the past as she is. To find their way, they have to learn how to trust one another, confront their deepest fears, and let go of what haunts them. I'm excited for this one. It's got magical realism. This is going to be my next book I pick up, so if you want to join me, it's a good time. I also have Babel by R.F. Kuang that I plan to read because of the dark academia vibe. It just fits perfectly in fall, and so I'm excited to finally read this one and see what I think of it. So Babel. A Movable Feast by Ernest Hemingway. I'm really looking forward to reading this one as the leaves continue to turn different colors and fall and prepare for colder months. I think that this is going to be a really good one to read as well. So those are my reading updates for the books that I've recently finished, the book that I'm currently reading, and some of the ones that I'm hoping to pick up in October. I also have a secret TBR for a video that I'm planning to hopefully post next week, all things considered. And I look forward to hearing what you've been reading. I love hearing from you, and it's really your comments that make this more of a two-way conversation, and I just like talking about books with you. If you'd like to support my channel in a different way and you want to give this video a like, or if you don't know what to comment, go ahead and comment a pumpkin emoji. I'll have some recommendations at the end of this video if you're looking for something to watch next. I hope you're having a wonderful October, and I wish you a happy fall and happy reading. I'll see you in another video soon.